Well, what's up, YouTube? I'm sitting in my family room. It's Saturday evening, about 5 o'clock over here in Cambodia. Probably morning time for you guys. I don't know whenever you're watching the video, but it's Saturday evening, not quite evening, 5 o'clock. It's still light outside. Uh, Got up today, did my housework. I check all the oils in the generator in the car and clean the car. And I kind of have my Saturday chores. I don't have a lawn to mow. If you look at my videos, I got tile flooring, so it's kind of nice. I don't have to mow a lawn. I don't need a lawnmower, so that's kind of a nice thing. I kind of miss walking on the grass with my bare feet, but it's okay. I don't have to worry about the grass, so I don't have to worry about putting any water on it. I just spray down with a hose, And over here, there's not really a drought or water shortage because it rains a lot. It rained today a lot. So, anyways, if you clicked on the thumbnail because you saw what it says, you kind of already know where I'm going. Okay, so the sign says, okay. Well, let me back up a little bit here. Okay. About 3.5 years ago, 3 years ago, when I first relocated over here permanently, I saw a lot of places they have massages. They're all over the place, but this one's in a village near me. And I saw the sign, and it says $3 and $5 massage. It's $3 for half an hour and $5 for an hour. And I thought, man, that's pretty nice, $5 for a massage for an hour. I figure I'll give a couple dollar tip, maybe $3 tip, I don't know. So I told my wife one day, I said, honey, you care if I go get a massage? And I told her where it was at. I said, you can massage me, but for 1 hour, I'll pay the $5 and I'll give them a little tip. And she said, it's not real. That's not a real massage. And I said, no, it says in English. I can read English. It says massage, $3 and $5. She said, it's not real. Okay. She said, it's girls doing things, selling things that, I don't want to say on YouTube because I don't want to take it down. But anyway, and I said, no, I don't think so. I said, it says massage. So anyways, one day I told her, I said, hey, I'm going to go get a massage. And she said, I'm telling you, it's not real. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to go check it out because it's not really that far from where I live if I drive a car. So, I go to the place to go get a massage. And obviously you can tell by looking at me, I'm a foreigner. I parked the car in the front and I got out and I walked inside and I saw maybe 6, 7 girls kind of sitting around on these different sofas. They weren't dressed like they were ready to give a massage. They were wearing some really short shorts and like I don't know what they call it, like a midriff shirt. Anyways, and most of them were looking at their phone, and they saw me come in. They put the phone down, and they were all smiles. And so a lady that I guess she owns the place, it's her business. She came up and she said she could speak some English. She said, "Hello, sir," and I said, "Hello, hello." And she said, you like? And I said, well, yeah. I said, I'm here for a massage. And she looked at me and she said, well, you choose, in her broken English, she said, you choose a girl. There were all these girls sitting around smiling at me. And I told her, I said, I don't care. I don't know any of them. I just want a massage. I don't know, whichever one's probably the best massager. Like, yeah, I don't know. I said, she said, no, need choose girl. So I looked around and um, I just chose one of the kind of girls, sort of by random. Uh, she looked like she wasn't like really skinny. She wasn't really thin. She had a little bit of meat on her. So I thought, well, maybe she can have some good strong hands and give me a nice massage. So I said, well, I guess I'll go with her. And I said, 1 hour for $5, right? And I leave tip. And she said, uh, no, no, it's $20. And I said, $20. I said, it says outside $5. And she said, yeah, but we want you happy when you leave. She said, happy ending. She said, girl for boom boom. And I said, what? And she said, girl for boom boom. And I said, no, no. I showed her my ring. I said, I know what boom. I know what. No. I know what boom boom girl. I just want a massage. She's $5 massage. And I give tip. And she said, no, $20 for the girl. And I said, well, I. Okay, well, thank you very much. And I started to leave, and she kind of got in front of me, not like in a threatening way, but she kind of got in front of me, and she said, no, 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 no. And I said, yeah, I just want a massage, for I said, my back and my shoulders. And I said, I just want $5 massage. And she said, no. She said, only $20 for the girl. And I said, for 1 hour. And I said, I said, no, I can't do that. I said, I'm married. I have a daughter. I cannot. So I started to leave, and she walked with me, like I said, in front of me. And she said, okay, $18 for the girl, $18. And I said, no, thank you. I said, you have a very nice day. I kind of saw, now I understand what was going on. I was just assuming it was a massage, but it was actually going to be more than a massage, if you guys know what I mean. So, and I didn't really want any part of that. I've never done anything like that before in my life. Just, I, I just didn't want any part of it. So I was leaving, and she kind of almost followed me to the car, and she said, we want you happy for $18. You happy? And I said, no, I don't want. So anyways, I got in the car, and I drove home. And my wife was in the kitchen, or I don't remember now, dining room, something. They were doing something. She said, did you get a massage? And I said, no, it's not a massage. And she said, I told you. And I said, well, I just read the sign, because you're gonna. I mean, you saw on the thumbnail. It's in English. It says $3 massage and $5 massage. So, anyways, as I was driving home, knowing I was going to have to tell my wife, she was correct. She just didn't come out and tell me what it was, but she said it wasn't real, and I don't know. I just assumed she was confused, but I was actually the one confused. But I thought to myself, driving home, the lady, she looks like she was maybe the madam, the lady that owned the house, the business, whatever you want to call it. She wanted the $18. Now, I don't know how much the girl was going to make. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. I'm going to say, just for the sake of guessing, I'm going to assume that the lady that owns the business, the house, whatever you want to call it, she's going to get at least 50% of that $18. So I'm thinking the girl who was going to give the massage was only maybe going to get $9. And I thought to myself, man, $9 for doing that. Those are the kinds of things that kind of freak me out living over here. And actually, that kind of business is against the law in Cambodia. It's against the law. But they are all over the place. They are all over the place. Those massage places, the nightclubs with the girls sitting outside, and the police, the government, whoever, they allow it to go on because they get kickbacks. Maybe they get money. Maybe they get massages. You know, I don't know, but they're every place. And now when I see those places, I know exactly what they are. I mean, I don't speak Khmer. I don't read. Now I know when I see all those places. I look at them. Now, before I just kind of like drove past them, and now I look inside, and sometimes they have the door open, and I see the girls inside walking around, and they're definitely not in clothes that you would assume a massage person would be wearing. So, Cambodia is, I believe, the 136th, 137th poorest country in the world, and like 122nd poorest or worst education. Really down there. So this will tell you the extent that people over here will go to make a few dollars. And I mean, really only a few dollars. I mean, she was going to spend an hour with me, and I don't know, out of that, even if she kept, I know she's not going to keep the whole $18 because the lady that owns the business, she got to make something too. So, and people just drive past them. They just, it's just kind of, people here, they've lived this whole life. They've lived this poverty, third world life their entire life. Their parents have lived it, their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles. It's just like commonplace, right? It's like us in the United States. Oh, look, there's a Starbucks. Well, they're everywhere. Nobody even notices them anymore. You just, it's just, so the people over here, 80%, maybe 85% are some of the laziest people you've ever met. And I don't mean lazy by working, well, there's some of that too, but they won't like study and try to improve their life. They'll just play on their phone. I've seen, there's a lot of traffic in the city in Phnom Penh. You go from one side to the other, it takes you quite a while. So there's traffic lights and there's traffic jams, and I will see mommies and daddies sitting, leaning up against a building alongside the wall, and they're sending their 4 or 5 children out to the cars, especially when they see a foreigner in the car, and they will knock on the window, and they will do the sawtooth thing and hold their hand out because they want some money, while the mommy and daddy are leaning up against the wall in the in the shade, and they send their children out in the street. They send them out with no shoes to make them even look more poor, but I don't know, maybe they don't have any shoes, and they're just walking around at the traffic lights, begging for money, and they bring it back to the mom and the dad, and that's just the way it is. And I've tried helping them, tried through education when I was a teacher. I think I told you guys I taught English at an international school, and then I taught English 4 nights a week at a night class from 5:30 to 6:30, and I made $100 a week doing that. I don't speak much about the money I make over here, but I made $100. They made me $25 a night to go teach a classroom with maybe, I don't know, 25, 30 students in there, English. And they had several different classrooms, different levels, so I kind of moved around. But they charged the students $18 a month to come for 1 hour a night, 4 nights a week to learn English. And I kind of got to know one of the girls in there. She had just finished high school, could speak some broken English, and I kind of liked her. Not like that. I'm an old man. I'm 67, but she's only 18. But I liked her because she always seemed like she tried. It seemed like she had seemed like she was fairly smart. And she came up to me one day and she said, "Teacher, I can't come to school anymore." And I said, "Why?" And she said, she had to think, and she said, "No, no." And I said, "No money?" And she said, "Yes, no money." And I said, "Do you want to come to school still?" And she said, "Yes." So I said, "Okay." I said, "It's only $18 a month. I'm making $25 a night. 18." So I told her, I said, "You keep coming to school, I'll pay your $18. I'll pay it." I told my wife about it. I didn't do anything behind her back. And I told her, I said, "I'll pay the $18. Okay? You want to come to school? I'll pay it." And she came for another 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I don't know, whatever it was. And then she came to me and she said, "Teacher, I stop now." She said, "No pay." And I said, "Oh, why?" And she said, "My family tell me I need to go to the city and make money." And I said, "What are you going to do? How are you going to make money in the city?" And she said, "I work at a nightclub." When a girl says here she's going to work at the nightclub, it's not like a nightclub in the USA where she's going to be a cocktail waitress or, work behind the bar. It's the same thing as the massage deal. It's just they have an area in Phnom Penh where a lot of foreigners go. The police kind of go around there and just monitor everything, but there's a lot of the illegal activity thing going on there. Got to be careful what I say on YouTube. So, anyways, I told her, I said, "Where are you going to work? I mean, you really don't know how to do anything because you graduated, no skills, no, you can't speak English." And she said, "I go work a nightclub in the city." And I said, No. I said, "Please don't do that." And she said, "No, my family told me, no, listen to the foreigner. Okay, you can go work nightclub, make money." So I was kind of depressed about that because she really had a good future. I mean, I was going to help her. And so they do Telegram over here because to use the phone is expensive. So they use Telegram because they have Wi-Fi and stuff. And Telegram is like an internet thing. Anyways, so I had her Telegram number and I would send her messages every now and then, ask her how she was doing, and sometimes it would take her 1 or 2 days to get back to me, and she would tell me that life was difficult. She said very difficult working nightclub. I know what she was doing. I know it probably was very difficult for her, but her family tells her that she needs to go do it, and they pretty much listen to the family. So, anyways, if you guys come to Cambodia, whether or not it's to live or just on a vacation, whatever it is, a holiday, and especially for you men or even I guess the women, when you see the sign that says $3 and $5 massage, don't think you're going to go inside and lay on like a massage table and get a massage for $3 or $5 because there's not going to be a massage table in that room. Okay, so yeah, there's my massage story. Like I said, I don't want to see the girls doing that. I have a daughter, and I wouldn't want my daughter doing that. So I can't imagine family telling a girl to go do that. But anyways, poverty does crazy things, man. That's one of the things I see over here in the city in Cambodia, man. Sad, but it's the way it is. So one last thing, I'm getting a lot of views, but no lot of subscribers, man. I wish more people would subscribe. Right. Like I said, I got almost I haven't had my channel very long, maybe like a little over a month, and I've already got 2,000, almost 2,000 views, but only 4 subscribers. So, you know, like I said, I'm going to keep making the videos. If you guys have any suggestions of what you want to hear, what you want to see, I'm going to get out here soon and go to like some condos, some really, really super nice condos and some really super nice apartments. And I'm going to go to some new houses and model homes and stuff, and show you guys what you guys can, you know, get over here and everything. So, but I've just been so busy, waiting for the USA to stop being crazy, which I might have to wait a little while longer so I can fly in there. So, anyways, you guys please click like and subscribe. I know most of you are watching in the USA because I can look on YouTube, the analytics, and it says that's where most of my audience is coming from. Like 96% is from USA, and like 2% maybe from Canada, and I don't know where the other 2% is coming from. But anyway, so like I said, you guys be safe out there. Please be careful. Please keep your eyes open. And like I said, if I can help you guys in any kind of way, send me an email and I will answer it. I promise I'll answer it right away as soon as I can see it. It's at live, .rich, RICH, Cambodia @gmail.com. If somebody emails me, I'm not going to give my Telegram, which is kind of like a Skype thing that they use. You can chat on it and you can do the video call, whatever. I'm not going to give my Telegram number out over the, you know, just to everyone, because it probably wouldn't be nice, probably wouldn't work out too well. But if you guys want to email me and you feel like you want to talk live, or you want to ask me questions to see like I'm not like a AI robot or something, you know, they always ask you, you're a robot. I'm not a robot, but I don't think. Anyways, email me if you have any questions about whether or not any kind of travel to Cambodia, pretty much Southeast Asia. I pretty much know the whole gig here. And you guys have a great Saturday, a great Sunday, and please be careful, man, out there, please. Okay.